Hi, welcome to English for Specific Purposes Untitled Chapter. I am Mr. Daryl.
And I'm Miss Tatia. მოგესალმებით, მე თათია ვარ. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. What's the topic of today's lesson, Mr. Daryl?
Today, I think we are going to continue what we started last time. We're going to talk about marketing.
Again, marketing, but different aspects of marketing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Let's get down to work. But before we move on to the lesson, I think that we have to look at our agenda first. Okay, what do we have on our agenda, Mr. Daryl?
We will do a little bit of an introduction, discussing some things, move on to the vocabulary that we will need for our reading text. We'll have a look at the reading text itself, maybe discuss that as well, and then move on to a very important section, the grammar section. From there, we will summarize and give out some homework.
Okay, very interesting. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილი, როგორც წესი, დაიწყება შესწავლით, შემდეგ შევისწავლით ახალ სიტყვებს, წავიკითხავთ მარკეტინგთან დაკავშირებულ ტექსტს, შემდეგ მოვიხილავთ გრამატიკას, შევაჯამოთ გაკვეთილს და საბოლოოდ დავასრულებთ საშინაო დავალებით. Let's get started. Mr. Daryl, as we are talking about companies again and their departments, I want to ask you, which departments of a company are involved in promoting it and its products?
Well, we were talking about marketing, and I would guess we're talking about PR, public relations.
Yes, you are right. We are talking about PR. PR is one of the departments which is involved in promoting the company and its products, okay? And before we move on to the reading and before we find out more about what PR department does, I think that we have to learn some vocabulary. And now let's see what is on our list. The first word we have is coverage. Coverage is a noun, and in Georgian it means reportaji, movlenebis gashukeba. So how would you say it in English, Mr.
Well, this is the reporting of a particular news event. This is the coverage.
Okay, so coverage, a noun, and in Georgian it is reportaji, movlenebis gashukeba. And here is an example. What did you think of the BBC's election coverage? It means how BBC just told us the story of the elections, kinda, is it?
I enjoy the BBC and their coverage.
And their coverage, right. And Mr. Daryl, what is the next word?
The next word is publicity. Publicity. What is the Georgian definition of publicity?
Publicity is a noun, and in Georgian it means საჯაროობა, ასევე რეკლამირება. So how would you define the word, Mr. Daryl?
Well, I would say that it's the attention that a person or product or organization receives from newspapers, television, and other types of coverage.
Okay, so publicity is a noun, and in Georgian it is საჯაროობა, რეკლამირება. And here is an example. The high street chain sales were hurt by all the negative publicity. It means that the publicity can be negative or positive, right?
Yeah, you never want negative publicity.
Yeah.
You can kill a business right away.
Yes. And the next word is viral. Viral is an adjective, and in Georgian it means სწრაფად და ფართოდ გავრცელებული, პოპულარიზებული.
Quite long.
Yes, okay. And how would you define that word in English?
Well, viral is when something becomes really popular really quickly, usually by modern technology, the internet, email, or just from passing from person to person in a very quick way.
Thank you. So here is an example. Here is a list of the top 10 viral videos this week. So viral videos, popular videos, which
YouTube
have
videos
spread all over the world very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, viral. სწრაფად და ფართოდ გავრცელებული, პოპულარიზებული. Okay, our next word is target audience. Target audience is a kind of a noun phrase, and in Georgian it means სამიზნე აუდიტორია. So, target audience, are these the people who we aim at?
Very well said. Target audience are the people that we are trying to reach with our marketing, with our PR, with our advertising, our audience.
So, target audience, სამიზნე აუდიტორია. And here's an example. The new campaign aims to reach a target audience of consumers 45 years old and younger. Okay, some target audience might be older people, younger ones, or people with
Teenagers.
some special needs or special requirements. Okay, the next word is press release.
Press
How would you
release.
define that word in English, Mr. Darrow?
Well, I would say it this way. The press release is the statement put out by a company, sent to the news or to other news organizations to talk about an idea or product that they might have.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So press release is a noun phrase, and in Georgian it means შეტყობინება პრესისთვის, press release. Okay, and here is an example. Knowing the right way to issue a press release is almost as important as the information in the release itself. Okay, so that's how companies communicate with the audience or with press. Maybe.
In an official way, yeah.
Okay, the next word is promotion. Promotion is a noun, and in Georgian it is სტიმულირება, პოპულარიზაცია, რეკლამირება, promotion. So can you give us more details about the word?
Yes, promotion is a way to make your product more popular or more well known using advertising, stunts, events, and promotions, and all kinds of things to make the product more popular.
Okay, here is an example. There was a promotion in the supermarket and they were giving away free glasses of wine. So giving away free samples of something is also a way of promotion.
Exactly.
Okay, and I think that we have finished with the words and it's time to practice a fun part of the lesson, right? Okay, I'll read the sentence and you have to decide which word would suit the gap.
Fair enough.
Okay, the marketing strategy for the product involves obtaining as much free, then there is a gap, as possible.
Well, we have 6 choices, and I'm going to go with publicity.
And you're right. So the marketing strategy for the product involves obtaining as much free publicity as possible. Okay, now I'll try.
All their clever, targeted something, campaigning, may ultimately be less effective than good old mass marketing.
Yes, and I think that I know the word which can go here. It's viral. All their clever, targeted, viral campaigning may ultimately be less effective than good old mass marketing.
So they were trying to be too clever, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Okay. Now the next one. Sometimes it seems that press, then we have a gap, of an event is inversely proportional to its true importance.
Sometimes this happens to news stories that people rate too highly. Press coverage, that's the answer.
Yes, you're right. So sometimes it seems that press coverage of an event is inversely proportional to its true importance. And the next one, you can read.
Obviously, as sales manager, he'll be very involved in the something and marketing of the product.
So I think the right word here must be promotion. So obviously, as sales manager, he'll be very involved in the promotion and marketing of the product. And one sentence, 2 options.
The preschool children are the something for the show.
Okay, I think that if the show is targeted at preschool children, it should be target audience.
Let's check, and you're right.
Yes. So preschool children are the target audience for the show. So it means that the show is meant for this age group.
Yeah.
Group. Okay, and the last one, quite obvious.
In a press release yesterday, the company warmly welcomed the new proposals.
Okay, so it means that the press release was issued yesterday by the company, okay? Okay, well, and I think that we have finished with this part of the lesson and it's time for reading. But before we go to the reading part, I think that we need to learn some words.
Yeah, or else it's difficult to take in a new text.
Yes, and now let's see what we have on the list. And the first word here is fundraising. Fundraising is a noun, and in Georgian it is fundraising. It's a common word now in Georgian. And ორგანიზებული საქმიანობა თანხის მოზიდვის მიზნით საქველმოქმედო და პოლიტიკურ ორგანიზაციებში. So fundraising. Can you give us more details about the word, Mr. Durrell?
Well, fundraising is the act of collecting or producing money for a particular purpose, particularly for charity.
Okay, right. So when you need money for some kind of event or maybe for starting your business, you have to apply to this fundraising, right? Okay, the dinner is a fundraising event for the museum. It means that they are collecting money to maybe open a museum. Okay. Well, the next word we have is trade union. Trade union is a noun, and in Jordan it is პროფესიული კავშირი. So what does trade union do? What is it?
Very important in labor law of these days. Trade unions are organizations that protect the rights of workers by organizing them together so that they're stronger together.
A very important organization, right? So trade union in Georgian is პროფესიული კავშირი. And here is a sentence. The government's proposals have been strongly criticized by the trade unions. So trade unions usually control, the labor conditions, right?
They try to help the worker against the employer.
Okay, and the next word is to refrain. To refrain is a verb, and it means თავშეკავება, მოქმედების შესრულებისგან თავშეკავება. To refrain. And how would you define that word in English, Mr. Daryl?
I'd say when you avoid or you stop yourself from doing something.
Clear. And here is an example. We refrained from talking until we knew that it was safe.
Oh, they must have been in danger.
Yes. And refrain from talking, it means they didn't talk. Yeah? Okay. And the next word is?
Retiree. Retiree. What is the Georgian definition?
Retiree is a noun, and in Georgian it is პენსიაში გასული ადამიანი, pensionary.
Good word. It's someone who has stopped working, obviously, and can relax.
Who has retired.
Yeah,
okay?
in his old age.
Yes, who has reached some specific age.
Typically 65.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is retiree, and it's a noun, and in Georgian it is პენსიაში გასული ადამიანი, pensionary. And the next word we have is for-profit. For-profit is an adjective, and in Georgian it is კომერციული ორგანიზაცია. For-profit. How would you define that word, Mr. Daryl?
The definition is almost in the title itself, but it means a company or person or business that is doing business in order to make money.
And the opposite of for-profit is, I think, non-profit organization.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well said.
So for-profit, it's an adjective, and in Georgian it means კომერციული ორგანიზაცია. And here we have an example. The law here allows hospitals to be operated on a for-profit basis. So it means that they are looking for profit, right? Okay, and I think that we have finished with the words. We are ready to read the text, but before we read the text, we have to prepare for the text. And for this, we have to think about these two questions. So what does PR include? Mr. Daryl, I think that PR mainly focuses on promotion of the company, right? Of the brand.
Yes, more focused on the brand and perhaps focused on the a person as well.
And its public image, the public image of the company, right?
The public relations, the public image of the company, yes.
Okay. And how does it differ from marketing? Very often people mix marketing and PR departments, their responsibility. So how does it differ from marketing?
This is the selling of products, so anything related to the selling of products. And this might be advertising, it might be different things, but the product is the focus.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now let's read the text and find out about the functions of PR and PR departments, okay? So, the scope of public relations. Public relations covers many aspects of communications between organizations and individuals and their various publics. Here are some examples. The first one, community relations. This is the relationship between the organization and the community within which it operates. A multinational corporation, for instance, will operate within several, often very different community environments. Companies may work closely with communities, including local government representatives, to alleviate problems such as noise from late-night deliveries. Equally, companies may become actively involved in local community activities such as fundraising for local schools and hospitals, building a strong link between the organization and the community. So it means that one of the aspects is community relations. Okay?
Yes, and
now
like
let's move on and see the next ones.
We have two more to look at here. The first is customer relations. Now, in increasingly competitive markets, the companies seek to build longer-term relationships with their customers. Customer relations can include the development of loyalty card systems, meet and greet policies in hotels and stores, and how complaints are handled. Now, we can look at employee relations as well. This is the relationship between the organization and its employees on both a one-to-one and a one-to-group basis. Employee relations normally includes communication with the retirees who perhaps benefit from the organization's pension plan. It can be argued that for a for-profit organization, retirees can also be viewed as customers. Employee relations is often considered as the core component of internal communications. Research has indicated that good internal communication procedures can enhance employee motivation.
Okay. Now one more aspect, this is industrial relations. This can be viewed from the two perspectives. Firstly, it refers to the relationship between different companies operating within the same industrial or commercial sector. While they have to refrain from revealing company secrets, organizations can nevertheless share information that will benefit the industry as a whole, through special forums and or through trade professional bodies. Secondly, this can be the relationship between the organization and the various trade unions and professional bodies that represent its employees in negotiations.
Now we will look at issues management. This is also known as crisis management and is a major component of public relations. Organizations prepare plans in case a crisis or major issue arises. This can relate to human resources, such as strikes, or to products, faulty goods or contaminated food. Crisis or issues management may be used either as part of a continuing campaign or to handle one-off specific crises.
So it turns out that PR includes a lot of different aspects, okay?
Yeah, under its one umbrella.
Yes, okay. And now it's time to check how well we remember the text and how well we have understood it. So for this we have statements and we have to decide whether the statements are true or false. And the first statement is the following. Fundraising for local school is an example of community relations.
This you read, I believe, and I think it is true.
And you are right, because we had in the text, or we read in the text, companies may become actively involved in local community activities, such as fundraising for local schools or hospitals, building a strong link between the organization and the community.
Okay.
Now, let me try.
Customer relations include motivating customers to buy products.
I think it's false, because I remember that we read customer relations can include the development of loyalty card systems, meet and greet policies in hotels and stores, and how companies are handled, but not motivating customers to buy the products. I think that this is more job of marketing.
You're right.
Okay. Now the next one for you. Good internal communication procedures can improve employee motivation. What do you think about
That
it?
sounds reasonable, and I think that's true.
You are absolutely right. And here is the statement from the text. Good internal communication procedures can enhance employee motivation, and enhance is improve, as we remember. So the statement was true.
Well done. Well, here's one for you, Ms. Tatya. Issues management is the key component of public relations.
And I think that it's true. It was in the final part of the text where we read, issues management is also known as crisis management and is a major component of public relations.
Okay, so we are experts on PR now.
Yes, now more or less, okay. Now I think that we have finished with the reading section and we have to move to grammar. And I think that the topic of today's grammar is passive, which we have talked about in the previous set of lessons. So I think that it's time to revise. The passive, when do we use passive?
Let me go over some of the uses of the passive. When we don't know who does something, when it's obvious who did something and it's not necessary to mention, when it's not important to know who did something, and when we want to emphasize new information or use a very formal style.
So a few examples here are, my documents have been stolen, so I don't know who stole my documents. The fact is that my documents are not here anymore. They have been stolen. So I use passive voice.
It's a perfect situation for the passive voice.
Yes. Okay, and we know that there are different tenses which apply to passive. So let's start with present simple. Present simple passive. How do we form present simple passive, Mr. Darrow?
Well, you use either the to be form of in, are, is, or are again, and the past participle of a verb.
Okay, so if in active voice we would say PR department issues a press release almost every week. So here the doer of the action, the agent, is PR department. It's at the beginning of the sentence. In passive voice we would say a press release is issued almost every week. So here we don't have the doer of the action. We don't know who does it, or it's not important. So the important thing is the fact itself that the press release is issued. And how do we form? We use verb to be, is in this case, and past participle of the verb is issued. Okay. Now, past simple passive. So we have two examples, active and passive.
Let me read the active example. They canceled the meeting. They canceled the meeting. If you turn that into the passive, you would say the meeting was canceled.
Okay, so here we don't see who did it, but the fact is more important. We put it forward and say the meeting was canceled. So past simple passive is formed using verb to be in the past tense, was or were, plus past participle. It was cancelled. Now future simple.
Here's the active voice. They will inform the investors about the decision. But in the passive voice, it will be the investors will be informed.
Yes, so in the active voice, we know who will inform the investors. They will inform the investors about the decision. So they are the doers of the action. In the second case, we don't know who will inform. The fact is that they will be informed about it, right? Okay. And we use will plus be plus past participle to form future simple passive. Now present perfect passive.
Let's contrast the two once more, active and passive voice. In the active voice, the team members have completed the task successfully. Now, if you turn that into a passive voice construction, it will be the task has been completed by the team members.
So it means that we can include the agent, the doer of
in
the
this
action.
special way.
Yes, but it will be at the end of the sentence.
Always.
And we will introduce it using the preposition by. So by the team members, okay? And how do we form present perfect passive? We need have or has plus been plus past participle. I think that the theoretical part has been finished, and now we have to move on to practical part. We will have sentences, and we have to choose the right option, okay? Please.
Well, I will read the first one.
Yes.
Someone was or has left their wallet on the floor.
So I think that it should be someone has left their wallet on the floor, because we don't know exactly when it happened. It's an active voice sentence. We know who is the doer of the action, who the doer of the action is. This is someone, okay? It's at the beginning of the sentence.
And you were right.
Next one. The Prime Minister was or has criticized for his recent actions.
Well, the sentence can only read in one possible way. The Prime Minister was criticized for his recent actions.
Yeah, we know because we know that we form past simple passive using verb was or were, verb to be in the past simple plus past participle of the verb. So we need to have here was criticized.
The next one, the important documents either were or have been stolen. Which is it, Ms. Tatia?
Of course, it's the important documents have been stolen because this is present perfect passive, and for present perfect passive we need have plus been plus past participle.
You're an expert, as I always say.
Okay, and the next one, your check was or has been sent last Friday.
Well, because of the last Friday as well, I would say that the check was sent last Friday.
Absolutely right, Mr. Gerald. This is past simple passive because we know the exact time in the past, and past simple passive is formed using a verb to be, was or were plus past participle. And the final one, the strategy of the company will be or is presented next week.
Because of the next week, I would say the strategy of the company will be presented next week.
And I think that you are right because it's about future. We have next week here, and future passive is formed using will plus be plus past participle. And I think that we have come to the end of the lesson, and it's time to summarize our lesson.
Yes, we had a look at the vocabulary at the beginning. As you remember, it led us straight into the reading text, which was a fascinating look at the world of PR. And from there, we looked at grammar once more. We reviewed the passive voice.
ახლა კი დროა ჩვენი გაკვეთილი შევაჯამოთ. გაკვეთილი როგორც ყოველთვის დავიწყეთ ახალი სიტყვებით. შემდეგ წავიკითხეთ ტექსტი, რომელიც საზოგადოებასთან ურთიერთობას ეხებოდა. შემდეგ განვიხილეთ გრამატიკა. გრამატიკის თემა იყო ნებითი გვარი. Now I think that it's time for homework, Mr. Daryl. What do we have for homework today?
We would like you to write a paragraph about a famous PR campaign that you know of. This can be quite fun.
Yes, really.
To investigate and to find out, and then to put a report on it for us.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the homework. But where can people upload the homework, Mr. Daryl?
They can do so on the address provided on the screen, and that's also where they can find model answers to follow.
Okay. Thank you for such precious information. But now I think that we have to say goodbye to our audience, and we'll meet them soon. So stay with us and keep on learning.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to the brand new topic that we will be looking at.
Yes, we are going to have new topic at the next lesson, and let's keep it a secret.
Okay.
Okay. So bye.
Bye.